Good afternoon, good morning, good evening to you, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Real View. My name is Andrew, and this is our weekly segment where we discuss various topics. We discuss various interesting topical issues. And this week's one is, can you truly reasonably love more than one person? Research has shown that a lot of people in relationships tend to still, even though when they love the person they are with, they always have this love for some reason, for first love or for their exes. And so it happens that people tend to love, well, research has shown that people can love one person, but they say more than one person, but in different ways. And in my opinion, I think that, when you say you can't love more than one person, it's actually restricting love and making it a tangible object. Does that make sense? So I'm putting it out there for you guys, and you can get started. Do you think you can truly love more than one person? Who's going? Tamara, you want to start or Chizoba? Are you there?
Chizoba should start. Chizoba, any other person can start.
Okay, I think I should start.
Okay,
if
go
I
on.
may.
Ambassador,
Although
let's hear you.
we were raised in, thank you very much, brother. Although we were raised in a situation with the understanding that ladies should go first. So, but
Exactly.
I would
We're trying to be gentlemen.
I will crave their indulgence to actually begin before them. So do the ladies say yes to me to say something?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Please tell me if I went to, my phone was about to die.
As usual, the segment is being recorded. So
all right.
participation is so let's go.
Okay, so I am going to answer that question from a cultural context.
Okay.
And what I'm about to say is something that is getting attention, now in the part of the world where I come from. As an African, it is factored into our culture that we can have more than one wife or more than one relationship. The clash that we see that causes this question to come up, why is it that one cannot love more than two people, emanates from the Western context, where it is believed that it is an abnormality for a man to love another woman.
Well, or a woman to love another man, let's be clear on that.
Or a woman to love another man.
Yeah.
Well, I am speaking from the context, from the cultural context. So I am speaking from the...
What am I saying myself?
Later. Then you will...
Can I go on, please?
Go.
Okay. Maybe you can mute all other people when anybody's making submission, so that
I'm muting everybody, and then Carlo, you can unmute yourself now. Ambassador, you can unmute yourself.
Okay, sorry. So I'm going to speak from the cultural context where I come from, where I'm familiar with, where the culture actually allows a man to marry more than one wife and
I'm seeing myself now.
Love more than one wife. Now, this may sound a little bit strange to people who were born into the system where the colonial positioning has said that a man is entitled only to one wife and a man is entitled to love only one wife. But in my own cultural context, it is not an abnormality. And we are beginning to come back to this reasoning that Africans, for instance, we are communal in nature. We are not like the Westerners. I've spent many years in Germany, in Europe, and I have compared the two climes, and I have discovered that whilst it may be okay for them to have that social context where a man can love only one wife and feel comfortable with it, in the African context, because of our communal nature, it is favorably okay and possible for a man to love more than one woman. So I just answered this question in both cultural contexts. In my own cultural context, I think it is okay for a man to love more than one wife or love more than one woman.
I think while we're talking, it's I think it goes beyond cultures and climes. It is more as a person. Can you as a human, whether or not you're European or like African or wherever you're from in the world, as a human, as we all have the same feelings, right? We have the same expectations. So the same feelings of love, the same feeling of jealousy, we all share these things. Okay. Now, that's irrespective of your culture or your background. And the thing is, now, is it possible? That's what I was saying. So irrespective of backgrounds, is it possible to love more than one person equally? Now, within the African culture, we said this in some of, I don't know if it wasn't last week, the week before, one of our episodes where we discussed the origins of marriage and polygamy and why there was polygamy within certain cultures. And then we also talked about where we talked about the Quran, where it says, because some people brought in religion, and we said, well, the Christian says you have to be married to one wife, one man, one wife. But then the Quran then said, well, someone then came again, well, in Islam, you talk about being married to more than one woman, provided, it said, but initially there was a misunderstanding, because the person said, well, provided you can love equally. Then when we looked at it, it was provided you can provide for them equally. Now, like I've said, research has shown that you can love more than one person, but not necessarily in the same way. You can love them in different ways. And I'm of that opinion. I believe that you can love more than one person, but because by saying you cannot love more than one person, you're restricting this idea of love to a tangible thing, which means that if I give you this thing, I'm giving it to you. That's it. I can't give it to someone else. That's so. If imagine this was love, for example, that's restricting love to a tangible entity. And it's not. We know that we can't touch love. It's intangible. We can feel it, but we can't touch it. So it's not restricted to time or space. So if I go with that, I would argue that you can love more than one person, and you can love them in different ways and all equally. Now, difference does not presuppose inequality. Let me say that again. So the fact that you love people in different ways does not mean that you love them unequally. Does that make sense?
Let me just quickly buttress a point, a very interesting point you raised. I'm going to stand on two aspects. One, you see, what shapes who you are or how you relate with people, it's actually your culture. All right?
Very true.
And yes, a Nigerian boy born in the UK will have similar antecedents of the British culture, okay? And this will differ a little bit from the same Nigerian of his age born in this part of the world. Okay, so
Ambassador, Ambassador, hold that thought. All right. We'll come back to that. But just hold the thought. I want to get other people in. I want other people to kind of others to contribute. But hold that thought. We'll come back, because what you're talking about now is about nature nurture.
Yes.
And we'll come back to that conversation. Okay. I want someone else. I want other people to come in. Tamara, do you want to say something? Emeka, do you want to say something?
Yeah, I want to say something.
Go on.
Yeah, I think I agree with the speaker, Charles, right? Charles is the one talking. Okay.
No, no, that's Kalu. Ambassador Kalu, go on. Yeah.
Okay. I think I agree with him, because what is love is culturally, to a very large extent, culturally and socially mediated. Let's be practical. For example, I am 25 years old. and I live in Nigeria, and somebody 25 years old, he or she lives in Europe or China and other parts of the world, the way they relate to love is one that is also socially and also culturally. For instance, I remember when I was in China, then I recall then my ex-girlfriend, that's a Chinese girl, there was some things she was doing, and I found it a little bit awkward. She asked me to give her my bank card and the password. She will give me, although we also do it in Nigeria, she will also give me hers. So she, like if when they call me, she answers the phone call on my behalf, and I answer the phone call on her behalf. So this kind of, and when we are going, we have to put our hands together, right? We put our hands together to show that and sometimes I can carry her on the back to show that I also love her. If I do not do that, she will get so freaked out and so angry with me. So the question now is, sorry to call, let me make it. So the question now is, I'm supporting what Ambassador Abu said, that it is, said that it is something that is culturally. And then it depends from clime to clime, whether you can love one at the same time, you can also love more than the same time. That is the way I see it.
Okay. Anastasia had a hand up.
Okay.
Anastasia, do you want to speak?
Yeah.
So, welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. Welcome
I just feel love. There's no way you can love someone equally.
Okay.
Yeah. Like you can love this person for this thing. Maybe let me take for instance, I like this guy because he's good looking or he's rich. People love people for different kind of reasons.
Yeah.
But love, for instance, love is not meant to have a reason why. Like you're just meant to love someone. It's an affection. Even parents don't love their children equally. So there's no how you tell me you love someone equal. Nah, there's always a preferred. There's always a preferred.
Right.
So that's English about, say, cultural thing or one thing. Those white people, those folks down there, are they not humans? Like, you're black, but you want.
That's the thing. We tend to take everything back to culture, and the thing is, it's not always culture. That's the thing. We tend to say in our culture this is acceptable. But it's there.
Do you know why that is?
No, but what essentially you're saying is because the West or let's start with Africa. But the fact that Africa and other cultures accept or promote polygamy, and then we talked about this in some episodes ago, where we talked about the reason why polygamy was at some point okay, and then we also talked about the decline of polygamy, even in Africa and other cultures, right? And so what you're essentially saying that because Africa as a culture accepts polygamy and the West promotes monogamy, you're therefore saying that the African or other cultures who promote polygamy are more capable of loving more than one person than the average. Does that make sense? Because
I'm saying,
it's culture. What you're saying essentially is because of cultural difference.
We're all humans first before anything.
Yeah.
You get me? And in this part of the world, it's always like, na so men be. When a man is doing something, they'll say, na so men be. You see in a very shitty attitude, they'll say, na so men be. That's how men are. And that's why the whole Nigeria is just the way it is. Very chaotic. People love in greed.
Okay.
People just love in greed.
Well,
that's not it. You can't love two people. You can't love two people equally. There's always a preferred. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that's your opinion, which means that essentially what you're saying is you cannot love more than one person truly. You can't.
Always a preferred.
That's a fair point, Anastasia. Tamara, your hand is up.
Yeah, I think I second Anastasia. For me, love is a strong thing. Maybe we don't. Sometimes when people say they love, I don't think they actually know or feel or understand what it is for you to say you love. Because I feel you can't love more than one person. I will use myself as an example. Maybe you're feeling something else for this person is different from whatever you think you're feeling. Like you're not maybe describing it to be love, like the both thing is love, you're actually feeling this. Like she said, I don't think you can love more than one person. From my side, if I know I'm loving, I said maybe I'm giving you a different kind of love, maybe a brotherly love, or the one they call agape love, or whatever love they call it. But I don't think if you want to love somebody like
I
when
don't
you
know.
say a man and a woman, that is not your brother, that person is the same. I don't think you can love them equally.
Thank you, Tamara. Let me at this point also point out that the whole idea of love is not restricted to heterosexual relationships alone, right? It is gay relationships, the LGBT, all this.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Right?
sure, yeah.
Because, but again, like I said, love is not restrictive to culture or gender, right? But the bone of contention here is, now we agree that that feeling, love, is not a tangible entity. We know that you can't touch your feelings, right? It's intangible, which means that you can experience it, you can't touch it. It's not constrained by space or time. But what we now disagree, and that's what the debate is about, is whether this intangible entity, if it is possible to share it or spread it equally. And now Anastasia has said it's not possible. But research has shown that, again, it might actually be going on Anastasia's point, because it's saying you can love more than one person, but at different levels, so for different things. So for example, let's use a guy and girl. That's the more common example, right? So a guy has this girl, Julie, and another one, I don't know, give a name. Another girl, Sophia, right? Now, he might love Sophia for behavior and intellect and everything, but he might love Julie for her junk in the trunk, for the for how she looks, the curves and everything else. Now, whether or not that love is equal remains debatable, because whether you like it or not, he loves them, right? For whatever reasons, right? And at some point, we're going to discuss this issue of conditional or conditional love, of being in love or loving something. Again, that's a topic for a different day. But so the argument here is, even if, like Anastasia said, you can't love equally, that's fine, because you love them for different reasons. But I pointed out before that the difference does not presuppose inequality. Because it's different does not mean it's unequal. Okay. No one that was echoing there. I thought so, right? I thought there was an echo. I knew there was someone else. I was like, okay, Jesus, I saw you there, right? So the fact that it's different does not make it unequal. So you can actually love something or persons differently, but it's all equal. You might have different reasons for loving somebody or people or things, but again, it's on the same level, and that's what the argument is. And as I saying, it's not possible. Choose about go.
Can I cut you? Sorry. So I've been listening. Sorry, my phone keeps going off. Now I wanted to disagree with the first person who spoke, when he kept saying cultural, and yeah, Anastasia has actually clarified that part, because I was going to be like, if you're saying, as Africans, we are communal human beings, I get that, we are always like living in communities and all whatnot, but then so it's acceptable for the man to love more than one wife. So should we now say that should also be okay for the woman to have and love more than two men, since we are all communal? It's not like the communal is a one-way street. You get my point? No, but that was what I was gonna say. But let's leave it, since we've already settled that part. Now,
Michael has got his hand up. MJ, unmute yourself. Go on.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm Michael. Good afternoon, everybody. Sorry if I came late. But I think we've been talking about love this, love that. I think it's important for us, first and foremost, to ask ourselves, what is love? Because if we don't know what is love, are we talking about love between a boy and a girl, mother and a father, or mother and, I mean, what is love?
I think
And
we're
then,
talking love as an umbrella term, generally.
if you're doing that,
okay, love defined as a strong feeling for something or a person.
Perfect.
Or
Now,
a place.
personally, I think that is already a mistake. It's a mistake because you cannot reduce love to just a feeling. Love is a decision. Love has to involve your intellect and your will.
Okay.
So feelings come and feelings go. Love is not just to be reduced to a feeling. Love is also a decision. And so if we want to understand why can people make decisions to love one person or love more than one people, then that's a totally different discussion. But I think it is wrong for us to just reduce love to a feeling. Hunger is a feeling, anger is a feeling. Feelings come and feelings go. So love is more than a feeling. It is also a decision to choose this person above all else. I choose to love you. I know you are different from me. I know you have your defects, but I have chosen to love you. I've made that decision to love you. So I think it would be wrong for us to just reduce love to a feeling, but also we have to accept that it is a decision.
That's a key point. It's a decision, but also where does this thing where you can't choose who you love, where does that come from? Because by saying you can't choose who you love, it's
ask motivational speakers that tell you rubbish and push you to do simple
like
things.
like Emmanuel said, sorry, like Emmanuel said, it's a decision. I actually agree. I agree strongly with what you just said. It's a decision. So, like you said, somebody just says that I pick this one and I choose to love you. So now, if you say you pick this person and you choose to love you, then at what point do you now pick another person and say, okay, you know what, I choose to love you as equally as I love the other person? It doesn't make any sense. Even like I said, even parents, no matter they can love their children as much as they love, but there's always a preference. There's always this one person that they prefer out of it's very difficult to say you can love many people or more than one person equally. It doesn't work.
Parents and children. So let's say for example, what you're saying essentially is the parents, if you say, but what you're saying with the preference is essentially saying that because they prefer one, it means that they love one that little bit more than the other. Is that what you're saying?
That's basically what I'm saying. I'm not, I won't, there's no sugarcoating it. There's no sugarcoating it. It is the fact.
Okay, that's fair. But which also means that in a life or death situation, let's say both children are drowning and the parent had to save one. What you're essentially saying is they will save the one that they love more.
If you just said now to save one, it's not like they're going to save the two. So the parent has to make a decision to save one. Who do you think the parent would choose? Do you understand? If it was a matter of save me as a parent and save the two children, obviously I'll give myself up and the children can be saved. But you just said two children, choose one. Yeah, definitely the parent will choose one. Yeah.
You see, is there any other person who wants to go?
Yeah, I want to just add something to this.
Go on. Okay, I think we lost Silva there. Emmanuel, do you want to come in?
Yeah, I just want to ask Chizoba a question. I'm curious. Recently, a video went viral of a man in Isoko land, somewhere in Delta State. The man married 2 wives, and the man was asked a question, and he replied, and he said he loved both wives equally. In fact, the wedding or the traditional wedding or marriage, as the case may be, took place that same day. So, Chizoba, how will you respond to the insights of the man? Because he said, and I quote him, he loved them equally. How will you respond to it?
Just like me saying, you know what, I don't know, just look for one thing to exaggerate. Trust me, that man does not love the two of them equally. What he might be trying to say is that he basically, maybe like one person cooks well and the other one straps well. It's just, he loves one thing about this person and he loves the other thing about this person. So he cannot love the two of them. A time will come when he will see the actual, he will decide whether he loves food more or he loves the strap more. He's going to choose one thing over the other. He can never love the both of them equally. It doesn't work.
The man doesn't know what he's saying.
I went off. I don't know if you guys were hearing me before.
Go on. No, we didn't hear you. You can come in.
Okay. So what I'm saying is that we should have narrowed this love to different aspects because love is very broad. But the aspect I want to talk about is the aspect of love in a relationship, like a guy loving 3 girls because this one can cook very well. The other one has a very good ass that is in love with the ass. Then the other one is tall or intelligent or whatever. And you love them for those different things, right? But like somebody rightly said, love is different from feelings, or love is different from just what you're attracted to. Love, there's responsibility to love. If you have children, for instance, you deciding to have children and loving your children, you know that if you love your children, you have to pay school fees. You have to give them good education. You have to do certain things for them because you love them. So even in a relationship, you can say, okay, I can love 2 women. It's okay, it's accepted within my culture. But if I love these 2 women, if this say the first wife decide to be angry that I have another woman B, will I be able to stand that consequences? Is it something I'll be able to take? If she decide to leave me, how will I feel? Will that be something good for me? How will I feel as a human being that I'm making my wife A, angry because I have wife B? If we think about these consequences as humans, I believe we'll be able to make better choices. In Africa, the man just think I can do anything I like. Not until we start making men understand that they are responsible for a lot of things. They have certain things that they should think about. They should think about, one, the feeling of the woman. If you consider the feeling of the woman, then you shouldn't just be trapped in culture that, oh, my culture accepts it, I can do it. But think about, will person B be happy, or will person C be happy that you are taking this decision? When we start thinking about those things, when we start bringing those things to our culture, I believe we'll be able to refine our culture better to a more human approach where we'll live in a happy world where everybody will be happy. That's how I see it.
Thank you very much. Like, guys, we're not.
Can I just
it's
say
great that we
something?
have these ideas, we want to change our culture, but I'm just going to bring us back to what the debate is about, or the discourse is today. It's that, like you say, okay, Siva, from what I've gathered from what you said is the fact that love within our culture, you think it's within the African culture, you think it's a bit unfair, really. That's what you're saying. Now, whether or not it's unfair, it's not the issue. The issue is whether you can possibly, love more than one person equally. And I've said it is possible, and research has shown that it is possible, although you can love them, you would love them differently. But then I've gone ahead to also argue that the fact that it's different, like Anastasia said, because you love them different, it can never be the same. And I've argued that the fact that it's different does not make it unequal. You can love different things or love about people or things or place for different reasons, but the love in itself will be equal. It will be on the same level. Does that make sense?
Sorry, I'm cutting again.
I'm not accepting this.
No, we are not. No. Okay, now that's it. Brings us back to what MJ was saying, right? Talking about no, not it wasn't MD. Who said Emmanuel? Who talked about the man that said he married 2 wives and he said he loved them.
That's Emmanuel.
Yeah, Emmanuel. So Emmanuel, like what Emmanuel said, and that guy said, you're saying, okay, they love them for 2 different things, but they love them equally. A time will come, again, I'm saying it, when you have to choose which of the 2 things about the 2 people do you actually prefer? Is it your stomach or is it your sexual drive? So at one point, you will have to choose which one you can sustain for the longest. And that one that you can't sustain for the longest starts dwindling.
Love.
Exactly. So you can't love them equally. Yes, you can love people
but the man has been in marriage for 6 years.
Sorry?
If you follow the viral video, their marriage has been on for about 6 to 7 years. And
forget that one. There are people that have been married for like 30 years, and trust me, if they had the opportunity to fight basketballs, give them they will fight and beat themselves. Like they will actually bring out all the things they hate about each other. That doesn't mean they're in love with each other.
now you talked about this. You know, I've heard somewhere, I read it somewhere. It said, if,
There's some.
if,
Go ahead.
if just about, based on what you said about people being married for a long time, and if they had, like, if you give them the chance, they'll kill each other. I read it somewhere. It said, if marriage was like driver's license where you have to renew it, a lot of men would not renew it.
Exactly. So people will know what they do, and they've been in that marriage for a long time.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
I think
it doesn't really mean anything, to be honest, that they've been there for 6 or 7 years.
Personally, I think that we should stop hiding. We should stop hiding behind research has said, or our culture is saying. I think that's rubbish. It's rubbish because at the end of the day, we are individuals. We are individuals who are called to make decisions. Okay, so because my culture tells me, oh, when the king dies, we have to kill 10 people and you are the next one. You think I'm going to accept that because my culture says it? We are individuals that are reasonable human beings. We are called to make our decisions. Look at this same culture has been in place for many years, but not everybody has married like 50 wives. Some did, some didn't, because they are free to choose. So let us stop hiding behind, oh, culture says this, research says this. At the end of the day, you make your decision. You choose who you want to love. You choose whatever you want to do. Okay, so I think love is, I go back to it, love is a decision. You decide.
Thank you. Let me add, love is a decision that has some responsibility attached to it. And if we link that responsibility that is attached to that decision of loving somebody, I believe most people will start seeing love differently. That you cannot love two people at the same time.
I think we should let Michael finish the point he was making.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, thank you very much. Even though I'm in agreement with what SPMS Oba is saying. Look, when you decide, because before you arrive at that decision, you have to check all the angles. Because when you love someone, you can't shortchange the person. You have to love as you want to be loved. And so you have to ask yourself, can I love 3 people equally? If I don't, then do I really love them? Or I'm just looking for something that will benefit me as an individual? Because love is not just about taking, it's about giving.
Yeah.
You understand? So there are many things to be considered in the decision called love. And those things that are to be considered will help you to answer that question if you can truly love more than one. That's just what I think about it.
Interesting. Is there any other person who has a contrary opinion?
Yeah, just by my views, no, not necessarily my views, because in the viral video that went, the man he has been married for 6 years, and Chizoba, I'm coming back to him. He said it's not possible that they have been married for 6 years, that it can be stage managed or can be acting. But is it the case that we shouldn't take the man very serious? Because I've seen some polygamous men, and when they asked the women said they also love the man equally. So my question would be, do we differentiate between love and like, or both of them means the same thing? So that would be my question.
Can I answer, or you
go on?
Okay. Now, I'm saying, with regards to the man, we can never know because he's telling us what he wants to tell us. That's what I'm basically saying. Nobody's going to come out and tell you that they're in a messy relationship and he's beating his wife and their wives are beating each other at home. They'll come and tell you what they want to tell you. That's why I said that there are people who have been married for way longer, and if you actually tell them to actually speak their minds, they will tell you that, trust me, if they had the opportunity, if they had the opportunity, they will what's it called? Beat themselves. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Sorry, okay. I'm trying to get hold on. I'm not done. So okay, I'm saying, general, that when the man is saying, the women are saying, oh, that they love their husband equally, it's all the same thing. Everybody's putting up a front. Trust me, no matter how, there are some people who come out and say, oh, they married 2 friends or they married 2 sisters. And they are all looking very fine in the photos and they're looking like everywhere, there's peace in the world. You don't know what's happening under their roof. trust me, a time will come when jealousy will set in. A time will come when, spite will set in. Different things will come in, because at the end of the day, the man cannot show both of them equal affection or equal love, as the case may be. Let's use the word love. One person will be preferred over the other, and that's why all those kind of negative, sinful things like jealousy and envy and kill and death and killing and all those things set in, because it will show. So I'm saying that yes, it's possible to have people you like for different things, but you cannot say you love them equally, because you are not loving them for the same reasons. So it can't even be equal to start with in the first place. You are loving them for different reasons. So there's a degree to what you love about this thing about this person, and there's a degree to what you love about this thing about the other person. That doesn't mean you love both of them equally. It doesn't work that way.
Yes.
Something.
Peter's hand is up. Yeah, go on.
Okay, am I on?
Yeah, you're on.
Yeah. I think there's a fundamental error here about measuring this scaling thing. I saw one of the features of love is unconditional. I think we've missed that bit. It has to be unconditional. And for me, love is a verb. So it's an action that you have to continue to make effort to make it blossom. You can't just love somebody once and then it stays forever. It is something that is earned, and at the same time, you can lose it. So whatever it is that brought you to the dance, if you don't keep it going, it's gone. You see what I'm trying to say? So just a second. So this person comes into your life, he or she is everything. In the case of a woman now, is everything. And then you find out he has alcohol issues or anger issues, and they start rearranging your anatomy with punches. You're gonna love that unconditionally. You're gonna carry on loving that person. There's an issue. So you really have to, think about it. So here's what I'm trying to say now regarding the multiple partnership scenario that, I'm sorry I came late. I didn't get the name of was one of the reasons why it is that our ancestors in their polygamy appear to have had their successes. It's unconditional love. Those people are not perfect, their spouses, but they've made a decision. I'm going to love this person, either because of the circumstances they found themselves back then, either because these people were providing economic safety for them or whatever. You see what I'm trying to say? Maybe that's why they decided they were going to carry on loving them. Now, it doesn't mean that it will be perfect. It's like the love we have for our children. I have a teenager that is giving me headache on a regular basis. I get a headache of this teenager, but that's my child. And the love is unconditional. Do I want to get a stick and do that? Of course I do. I have things I want to say that I can't say. But if that child of mine needs support, a hug, a cuddle, a bill being paid, I'm there. That's love. This same person is giving me nightmares. So people have that with their spouses as well. This crazy husband of mine with his roving eyes. This annoying wife of mine with her sharp tongue. But love has to be unconditional because you are giving. Like Michael said, once you sign in, it's a decision you've made. As long as you can weigh the options, these roving eyes, I can't deal with it anymore. Then you make a conscious decision, I am done with this trip. Or this sharp tongue and cursing out my family and my mom and my siblings, I've had enough of it. Then you make that decision. But I feel like there's no black and white with this thing. It's gray.
Okay, thank you very much, Mark Joe. Now, the issue, one of the things I picked up from what you said is unconditional love. Now, I would argue that there is nothing as unconditional love, and I'll tell you why. Now, when you love somebody or something or a place, it's for certain reasons. Like, take example of a child. You love that child because he or she is your child. Now, the reason why you love that person, place, or thing becomes the condition. So which means there is no love that is unconditional. You love that child unconditionally because he's your child. The fact that it's your child makes it a condition. Does that make sense? But I just thought I'll put that out there. Now, I had someone else. Philip, your hand was up.
Yeah, sorry. I think I love the trend of discussion so far, and it's been quite interesting to. But I think I agree. Sorry, I was in and out, so I must have missed some points that were made. But from the little I've gotten, I think I agree with the point that it's difficult to measure love if it's not inappropriate, you know. So and that's why I think we're like not having a bit of clarity in terms of what you're discussing. But if you ask me, there's also the fact that you can love different things in different people. You can love different things differently. But you have to define what love is. You understand? What is love to you? That's the thing. But the major point I want to make is that the trend of discussion so far has been like the yardstick of judging love is marriage, which for me, it's not, because we've been making examples of culture, this is what our culture says, and this. So I don't think marriage should be the yardstick for love, because even before marriage, love precedes marriage. That is because of love that are going to get married to somebody in the first instance. So let's try to like conceptualize or have a sense of love outside of marriage. And perhaps that can give us a bit of clarity on whether it can be unconditional, whether it has to be tied to something, but for me, I think it's different for different people. That's just my sense of it. So you can't just come and say you put it in a one size fits all to say that you can't love unconditionally, you can love unconditionally. I think the measure of it is something that is going to be as controversial as ever. But the error that we must not make is to think that you must be in a marriage relationship or perhaps in a romantic or a sort of romance to be able to display love. I think that will give us a bit of clarity within the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Philip. I think what you just said essentially is that we shouldn't restrict love to exist only within a committed relationship, be it marriage or, and like I've said, that's why I've always said that we could love a place, a person, a place, or a thing. So it's not necessarily, but the thing is, I think what I've gathered so far is the fact that love seems to be subjective. There's no general general opinion or generally accepted opinion on the term love. But one thing we do agree on is that love is action. It is beyond just a feeling. It is action.
I think love is all of that. I think love is all of that. Let me give an example. You can love something because of what it does to you.
Yeah.
You can love ice cream because when you eat it, you're in heaven.
True.
You can also love your partner because when he or she shows up, you are like, damn, that's my babe. Some people get love because of selfish benefits, right? Because it makes them feel amazing. It makes them feel good. That's why they love who they are with or what they are doing. But how about the love that is all about giving? The kind of love you have for your younger brother, or that you have for your mother or your father, whereby you're not getting anything back. But we die here. As in, whenever this person calls me, I'm there. The kind of love that people have for their cousins, you know, people that the kind of love you have for your nephew or your niece. You know what so for me, like the other speakers said, we cannot box this thing at all. We really can't, because it has different, but for me, I feel like love is an experience. So I have people that I love because of what they do for me, what they bring to my table, how they make me feel. I have people that I love because they do nada for me. I would do everything for them. I die for them because I love them. And for me, one of the moments when I started feeling that kind of love was when I had my first child. You know, when I became a dad. That's when I knew love in a different perspective. Before, the kind of love I felt was babe love, you know, loving somebody. But it's because this girl is fine and she's hot. So yes, I love her. But when I became a dad, looking at my child, I said, I would die before anything happens to this boy. I would die first. That's another level entirely. And then at some point, after years of being a father, seeing the stress I was going through, I started to appreciate my dad, who has now passed. And when I look at my dad, when he fell ill, and I'm thinking, if I can take this man's pain away, I would do it. That's a different level of love. Now, my mother, the love I feel for her is different. And then I have cousins and siblings. You see what I mean? And spouse. I think this thing is complex. You really can't box it. But I think what I want to take away from it is an experience. And it comes in different shapes and sizes.
Absolutely.
And that's why I say you can't love more than one people equally. When I say it, I'm not saying it from an argument point of view, like okay, marriage or anything. It's the fact that you will love different people for different reasons, and you cannot say you can love each and every one of them equally. It doesn't make any sense. You love them for different reasons. You can't even quantify the different reasons and put it in one box and say it is all equal. It doesn't make any sense. Love is so broad on its own that you can't even measure, you can't even quantify it. So yes, you can love two people in one house in a sense for different reasons, but you can't say you love them equally. That doesn't work.
For you, Chizaba, what you're saying is difference presupposes inequality. That's what you're saying.
Basically.
The fact that it's different means it's unequal.
That's a good question. That's
so
a good question.
Yeah, MJ.
I'm struggling to conceptualize what you said about unconditional love and its inexistence. I'm trying to fit it in my brain, and you use the example of a child. And Bola rightly said that the love he feels for his. So my problem is this. Being your child is not a condition. There should be a difference between a condition and the foundational basis of a relationship. Being a child is not a condition. It is the foundational basis of a relationship. A condition is an added extra. It is like, condition is modus ponens. If this, then this.
Yeah, okay.
But that is the basis of the foundation is that this is my child. That is not a condition. That is like a foundation. The condition is now the extra on top. You know, so when you said that there's no love without nothing like unconditional love, I'm struggling to process that in my head, and understand that there's a difference between the foundational basis of a relationship and the added a condition that is added upon that foundational basis.
Michael, can I quickly comment and thank you for that? Because at some point, I think I lost my trail of thought when Andrew brought that element in, because I felt like maybe I didn't think about it deeply. So I think the point I was trying to make also was there was no condition there for my child. I needed her to be better with her academics. I needed her to be better with the way she conducted herself. I needed her to be more well-behaved. Yet, I kept feeling let down in all those areas that I felt like I need to show this person that if you don't do what I need you to do, then you can forget me. But then, because of the love that is there, you can't. It's unconditional. Just like I think has helped me bring forward. There's no conditions attached to it. This is your child that you need to love and support. And again, it's the action now. I'm not really getting much back, but I have to show the love, whichever way she wants it. So if it's the cash that she wants, I need to provide it. If it's me showing up, I need to show up. If it's me picking up the phone and responding to the request she's made, then I need to back up my word with action. I think what we don't do most in Africa, we don't articulate it, but we use actions. I know that I have people within my extended family who love me. I have cousins who I know they love me. They may not use their words to say it, but their actions say it. But again, it's because they are doing things. Sorry.
I've been waiting to see if I can make a statement.
I want to reply MJ. Sorry, I'm cutting. Sorry, I'm very sorry.
Go on.
Don't forget. So MJ, I get where you're coming from. Yes, with for the children side of things, there's the foundational basis. I get that, but I think I'm trying to understand also what Drew is saying based on a reason. Let me give you why. Let me tell you why. For example, okay, you love someone. Person is your child. Person they tell you, okay, this is your child. you know, you were there when the child was born and all whatnot, and then as a foundational basis, you've loved this child to a certain level. And for some reason, you have to take a DNA test and you find out that this child is no longer your child. Do you still love that child? Would you still love that child as equally or as, you know, as good as you did when you thought that child was still yours? So in a way, there's a condition, because I feel like, okay, you did love the child because you thought that child was yours initially. Yeah. When you now find out it's not yours, something changes. Then your love changes. Again, like I said, I agree when you say it's a foundational basis. I'm saying, I think from where Drew was trying to come in with the condition is the fact that, okay, if you find out that child is not yours, it now becomes a condition. Now, I don't really love this child anywhere because this child,
Great. Let me just quickly,
mine. I don't know if you get where I'm coming from. So
I get you.
Can we hear you? Thank you very much.
I'll reply later.
We'll come back
okay.
to the
All right.
MJ. We'll come back.
Okay, thank you very
Ambassador
much.
Kalu, your hand has been up. Go on.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm sorry, I've been watching, I've been raising my hand, so I'm just waiting to make my comment and not to actually jump in. No problem.
We apologize
so
for that.
Now, this is a very interesting discussion, and I think we all are learning from that. I would align a little bit with Mrs. Chizoba's position. Love, is it possible to love more than one person? Yes. I agree with that. But is it possible to love both people equally? Now, from what we know in quantum mechanics and the principle of uncertainty, there is nothing actually seen as, there is nothing actually correct, or there is nothing actually equal here in life. Okay, if you make a measurement and say this is 12 centimeters, there are some limitations that may cause that not to be exactly 12 centimeters. You have limitations with your, the way you see, the way you observe things, the instruments you use. In fact, this is what quantum mechanics talks about, that there is no exactness, actually does not exist. Okay, so as humans, we are limited to such handicaps. So is it possible to love two people equally? It is impossible, because we are humans and we are limited to most of these factors. Now, love has to be demonstrated. That is why you see us talking about the relationship between a man and a woman, or maybe two men, in homosexual relationships. Love has to be demonstrated. If love is not demonstrated, it has to be expressed. And the expression of that love now comes down to your culture. The means whereby you express that love must take a huge chunk from your culture. I'll give you an example. In Europe, a man may love a woman and give her flowers. In fact, I saw, I don't know how many of you who saw that on social media. A man was holding a flower and some money on the other hand, and he was approaching people. He approached 4 Europeans, gave them the flower. They accepted the flower and declined the money. But when he met an African man, the African man reached out for the money. Now, some people would think that he is greedy. It is not a matter, an aspect of greedy. Chizoba, if when you were dating your husband, he gave you flowers instead of money, I don't know how you would react. But this is a cultural thing. It is not a thing of greed. In our culture, if you want to express love for somebody, you don't go giving the person flowers. That person will look at you as you're weird. You buy things, you express things, you just provide things for the person. So this is where I linked the expression of love to our culture. Finally, a gentleman here said that he doesn't think all those researches, he termed it nonsense. I forgot, is it Mike? I think it was Mike who made that MJ, statement. Yeah, okay, MJ, you see, whenever you see research, results of research, these are not things people just come up with and, put up. These things are products of, investigations in how we all behave as regards to our microenvironment, and are documented for other people to see and for us to compare. So I think this is just my little contribution to the very interesting discussion. Thank you
very much, Ambassador Kali. But I think you made it, it's good that you clarified that point, because like you said, we're looking at love, first of all. But one thing we all, like I said, we kind of agree that love is very different. But one thing we all agree on is the fact that love is expressed by actions. And then that is where the culture comes in. The expression of love also differs as much as our views of love. There's someone else who wants to come in. Go on, MJ, go. Let's go.
Let me just quickly answer.
Emeka, you need to butt in when you have your chance.
Let me just answer. Now, when I was making reference to culture and research, my reference is to the fact that I do not act because a research has said it. I do not act because this is what no, I act because I have decided to do it. You get? So that is my, that is why I made mention to all this. I said, do not hide behind culture and do not hide behind research. You decide to do it. You don't act. Research is a product of what people have said. Research does not make me do things. I do things. That's about that. Now, Chizobat made mention of a child that is not yours. Would you still, that becomes a condition? You see, the problem with that is this. Your fundamental basis of having a relationship with that child was erroneous in the first place. And when you make a decision based on error, everything that follows is wrong. Mm-hmm. Do you understand? So when you were either deceived to make a decision, or maybe the person, your wife, thought that was your child. So the fundamental basis of that relationship was erroneous. And everything afterwards becomes erroneous. So it's not that you love less or you did not love. No. You were loving based on the fact that you believed that this was your child. It was the fundamental basis of your relationship. But that fundamental basis has been wiped away because of the fact that you discovered many years ago, many years afterwards, that, oh, this child is not mine because so and so and so. So that fundamental basis was just erroneous. That's my, I mean, I'll be wrong. It's not dogma.
Thank you very much, MJ. But I think, again, on going on Chizoba's point, there was whether or not the foundational basis was erroneous, is the thing is, it was based, that foundational basis was the fact that he's a child, and that becomes a condition. That's what I think that's what Chizoba was saying. Right.
Yeah. Sorry, Andrew, can I quickly come in?
Emeka now.
Okay, make us okay. No, but just I'm not going to take time. I'm not going to take time. I'll be quick. Sorry.
Can I just hold that thought, Philip? Let me just go to Emeka. Just hold the thought, Philip. Emeka, go on, please.
Okay. Hello. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. Please, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah.
Hello. All right. Okay. So this is my first time of attending the Zoom meeting with you guys. I know just Andrew over there, and of course she's over that has been talking. I don't know you before, but you've been very vocal. You know.
Yeah, all your points on Instagram. Yeah.
Okay. All your points have been very interesting and educating too. But I want to start from that point of view of the foundational something that. What if you discover erroneously that the child wasn't yours, and you've loved that child with that zest and zeal? At the end of the day, okay, you now find out that child is not yours. You know, I just want to quickly add that. How about those that actually adopt children, you know, and love them unconditional too as well? You understand? You know from the onset that this person is not even your blood. Are you getting? But you are going to spend so much energy in terms of resources and your emotion that person. There's so much love that you know this is not my blood, but you're doing that. So I think that one kind of scraps that erroneous some people were talking about. I just saw a film too. Yeah, okay. I just saw a film, Lion. That's the name of the film. An Indian little boy was abducted by some Scottish folks, I think. And you could see the love genuine after the film itself. They now have to show the real person, the real characters. So I was just watching, and you could see that genuine love from that parents, the so-called the ones that adopted that boy and everything. So my own take, I'm taking it from there to my own opinion on this issue. Love, the topic love is so fluid that you cannot restrict it to one particular, I don't know, even because there are various kinds of love. First of all, to start with, you have agape love, which you call God's love, and some other kind of love. Now, looking from the, I should suppose or presume that most of us here are Christians. We believe in God. I don't know, but I'm just saying. And God Himself, because before anything, I look up to what's God's take on this. You know, God Himself actually does. There's the basis of Christianity. If you want to preach Christianity, sorry, I'm not digressing. You know, I'm trying to make a point. The basis of Christianity for God to love the world. Yet that sermon, that scripture, nearly everybody knows it off heart because it's what is Christianity is all about. The foundation of Christianity, love. For God so loved the world. Just look at that statement. For God so loved the world that He sent His only begotten Son. But when you look at the Bible again, in some instances, some verses, you know, you now discover that even God Himself does not love everybody equally. That's the truth. David, for instance, is a man after God's heart. Sorry, I'm using the Bible to make my own point.
You can use your experiences. Go on.
I don't mean to bore you guys. I'm just trying to make a point. David was a man after God's heart. Even from our own human understanding, when you start to look at it from our own perspective, you look at the man David, you say, who is this man? You know, look at the way he is, look at his character. You know, it's like a modern day traitor or a despot, something like that. You take somebody else's wife, you send the person to war so he can take his wife and all those things of that nature. And you say, this man is not such a fantastic man after all. But this was somebody after God's heart. God loved it differently from the way He loved Saul.
Right.
It was not equal. Now look at Jacob and Esau. Even right from the womb, before they even came to earth, God has chosen one. There was this higher love for one.
This argument is going to throw us off.
This is Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Omega.
I'm sorry. This is going to give us headache. This Bible approach is going to give us headache.
Thank you very much, Omega. Let me quickly take you back. I'm just gonna. You know the issue of adoption you talked about. It ties with what MJ said earlier, where he said love is a decision. Now I'm going to quickly go to Blessing. Her hand has been up. Go on, Blessing. Go on. Your hand has been up.
Yeah. Hi everyone.
Sorry for keeping you waiting.
It's okay. I want to ask a question. Like, is there really an unconditional love? For me, for what I've known, might not be right though. But let me say so. If someone has the correct answer, can just correct me because I feel everyone loves someone for a reason or for some reasons. So for me, I don't think there is an unconditional love. I mean, my question is if there is an unconditional love, if there's an answer, fine. Well, concerning what this guy, I don't know what his meaning is. The guy that gave example concerning a guy giving a girl flower and money and some money. Yeah, that. Like he said, it's like I call it like cultural thing. Like maybe a white man giving white ladies flower and money. They have to choose the flower to the money. For me, this Nigeria is hard. All Africans kind of different from their own. We practice love in a different way here. In those days, our parents would just go through. We'll go and bring bush meat and give to our mother. They are already proving their love. Yeah, you come and give us flower and let's take flower. So I commend his own. He was right on that one. So my question in general is there really an unconditional love?
Well, that's what the debate is all about.
All conditions.
Yeah. Sorry, Andrew, let me just, please, yeah. I need to run. I have another meeting at 5, but let me just give this my last point. So, the thing is, it was saying that love is an action. And the observation of love is in its expression. That gives a sense of the possibility of measuring love. Because we'll be talking about, loving people equally. So I give an instance. If I go out, and buy 2 loaves of bread, and I come back home and I give to my kids, maybe I have 2 kids, and I give each of them a loaf each, does that translate to loving them equally? You understand? I'm trying to get admission for them. I get admission for them in the same school. Does that translate to loving them equally? You know, I do things the best way I can to ensure that whatever access this person has, the other one also, you know, has it.
Can I interject?
But it's also, but the complication of it is also that the intention, and that's what we're talking about, the intention of doing it is also something that matters when it comes to the person who is expressing it as well. But in terms of a third party observing, you know, we're talking of culture, we're talking of the environment. These people seeing what you're doing can say that, okay, at least this person is fair in terms of the expression of love to, you know, either of the kids. Yeah. Sorry, I have to run, Andrew. I have to run somewhere.
No, you made a strong point. You made a strong point. I think you should get. Sorry, Andrew. Sorry, Andrew. Spare me. Spare me. Philip, you made a very strong point that I think can really help us before you run away. What I observe is this from what you were saying. There's expression of love. I think that can be measured. But also, but the second part of how you feel, that cannot be equal. And that's what I'm trying to say. I don't know what your position is, but I feel like there's no point speculating. Let us assess ourselves, even within our family. I have 5 siblings. I hate to say, but I like some more than some. And I love some more than some. Some are closer to me more than some. So I think right there, it's possible. Or rather, you cannot have equal in terms of what you feel. However, when it comes to making the effort, you know, I guess you can try to be as fair as you can. And even within my household, so some of my children, one is closer to me than the other. You see what I mean? It doesn't mean I don't love my children, but I have time for one more than I do another. You see, but that doesn't mean when it's time for me to pay their fees, I will say you, because you're a bit of a twat, I'm not going to pay your school fees. No way. But when it comes to 2 of them calling me and I want to pick one call, I know I will pick one before I pick the other. So I think it's definitely impossible to be, for the love to be equal. But in terms of, because that would be, you know, and we don't need to speculate. Let's just assess it. And we'll see. The answer is right there.
Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. Now, our next week topic is, can men and women be just friends? Can men and women be just friends? That's next week's topic. And so again, for those of you joining us for the first time, thank you very much for joining us. Do not forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, to share, to like, and also to follow us on Instagram. MJ, you want to have the last word. Go on. You want to respond to Blessing.
No, I've actually written it down. I've written down that, look, Blessing, all conditions are reasons, but not all reasons are conditions. So let us just get that clear. So for me personally, there is unconditional love. That's my personal point of view. But because I have a reason for loving, doesn't mean it's a condition for loving. A condition is, if this happens, then this. A reason is bland. You know, so I will say all conditions are reasons, but not all reasons are conditions. So
okay, let me just quickly respond to the poll though. If you give that reason, that means if that reason is no longer there, you would love. If you love for a reason.
I'm sorry. I used to believe in unconditional love, but after this discussion, I actually agree with the fact that there's no unconditional love. To be honest, I'll go back to MJ, because if you had unconditional love with zero reasons for loving this person, then you should be able to love every single person in the world unconditionally.
Reason will be reason is the basis of the relationship. The reason is that this is my child. It is not a condition. The reason is, do you understand? The reason is this is my child. That's what I'm trying to talk about.
So that's a condition. It's a reason.
No.
What is your saying is a condition?
It is not a condition.
This is Grammar 101.
It's not your saying.
A reason is not all.
Now.
No. A reason is not a condition.
Reason is not.
It's not
reason is not condition. Condition is give me money and then you love me.
No,
if this, then
the
this.
reason is a
If this,
condition,
then
because if the reason is not there, you won't love them. So that's the if and then. If the reason is not there, you will not love them.
Know them. I won't know them.
That reason.
I won't know them. There's a difference. If the reason is not there, I won't know them.
That's what I'm saying. That's the condition. If the reason was not there, you won't love them. Or no,
I think we need to check. I think we need to
them.
Google. We need to Google the definition of condition and reason. Then we come back.
Listen, guys, it's been very interesting. We've run out of time. Again, like I said, the next week topic is, can men and women be just friends?
We need part two. Part two of this is what we need, Mr. Producer.
Can a lion and a goat be friends?
Again, every finish, and then we'll have a normal conversation. Guys, again, can women and men be just friends? That's the topic for next week. It's been great.
But we'll need
do not forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram, Real Views 2021. Again, don't forget to share and like.
Part 2, please.
Part 2, please.
Part 2. We need part 2. This